It's been 2 busy weeks at the Greensboro Coliseum, first for the women's and now for the ACC men's basketball tournament. But going back 3 years ago, the tournament ended with no winner. COVID ending the run to that conference title. "63% of North Carolinians are completely vaccinated against COVID-19. 59% have also gotten their boosters. 3 years, though, after COVID was first declared a public health emergency, we are still learning more about this virus and its effects. Doctors are investigating what appears to be an increase in a debilitating condition called POTS after a COVID-19 infection. Dania Backus introduces us to a woman coping with this disorder.
Nicole Baca was a nurse on the front lines of the pandemic. She ended up hospitalized with COVID-19 in June 2020. Since then, she's been coping with many symptoms, including heart palpitations and brain fog.
I went from being a healthy woman in her 30s to being pushed into my doctor's appointments in a transport wheelchair.
Baca was eventually diagnosed with POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. The disorder of the autonomic nervous system causes symptoms when a person goes from seated or a lying position to standing.
A lot of people are dismissed as having anxiety or a psychological disorder because people are not aware of POTS. We have known for many years that POTS can occur after various viral illnesses.
Dr. Pam Tao with UC San Diego Health is investigating a surge in post-COVID POTS. Estimates suggest around 1 million people have developed the condition after COVID. Treatment includes a combination of lifestyle strategies and medication.
This protocol involves strength training and non-upright exercises. And then there are medications that can be used to treat POTS and lower the heart rate.
Baca has done months of physical therapy and cardiac rehab. She continues to exercise and take medications.
Even just from in the last year, now I feel like I'm able to do more. I can stand longer. I don't have as many flares of my symptoms or my heart rate spiking.
And she took part in research studies to help people with POTS get their lives back.
To fight COVID-19 and all the possible long-term effects, medical experts recommend you get the COVID-19 vaccine. The FDA is aiming to simplify its approach to the shot. They're going to transition solely to the bivalent shot for all COVID-19 boosters, and they're talking about making the shot a once-a-year booster after the initial series.
I think a lot of people have found the recommendations to be very confusing and difficult to keep up with, and the idea here is to simplify that so people can follow those recommendations more easily.
Well, more than 80% of the U.S. population has had at least one vaccine dose, but less than 20% of eligible Americans have received the latest boosters that were authorized in August. Well, for the 20% who haven't gotten the vaccine, we want to get to the bottom of what's causing the hesitancy. Health officials say the shots are safe and effective at preventing or reducing the risk of a bad infection associated with COVID-19. Megan Bragg verifies a claim that one viewer heard about.
Viewer C. Sigmund emailed us saying, "We are hearing that if you've taken the COVID-19 vaccine, you could possibly have heart problems within 3 years." So let's take a look at the facts. For answers, we went to cardiologist Dr. Paul Coley, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and the American Heart Association. After getting the COVID vaccine, it is possible to get myocarditis, which is a heart condition that inflames the heart muscle. However, Dr. Coley says it usually develops right after getting the vaccine.
That really occurs in the acute period, in the first few weeks, perhaps a couple of months after you get that vaccination.
It's also pretty rare. In a study by American Heart Association, researchers looked at medical records of people hospitalized for myocarditis within 21 days of receiving the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine. They found out of the 7.3 million people receiving the first, second, and third shot, only 41 people were hospitalized for myocarditis. As far as this happening years down the road, we'll have to wait and see since the vaccine is still relatively new. However, Dr. Coley says that's unlikely.
It is incredibly rare to get something called autoantibodies, which means that the immune system gets triggered in such a way that it makes antibodies to your own body cells, which then manifest many years later.
The Children's Hospital of Philadelphia looked at several different types of vaccines, including the COVID-19 vaccine. They found severe effects following a vaccine can occur, but they tend to happen within 2 months of vaccination, not years later. The FDA required companies making COVID-19 vaccines to follow trial participants for a minimum of 2 months before they could submit data for approval. Participants in the trial continue to be followed even though vaccines have been approved for use.
We have not yet seen autoantibodies being reported in a widespread fashion with the COVID vaccine.